get some of the kind of breakup and spattering effects. You're going to see back here. Let me try to get it in. So like see the black dots and kind of the white kind of break up. What I did is because it's kind of like a spattering or a modeling technique, but really it's just taking a brush and with pigment in a cup. So let me specify specifically. So like areas here where you see kind of the breakup and the spotting and the dotting and kind of the overlaying a little bit more of a dirt wash. So what I do for that, so mainly it's just I just use a cup like this, anything with a nice rim on it, and then really the brush, I'll just change whatever one I got my dirty brushes that are just for enamel, and I'll pour, you know, the enamel or oil liquid just a little bit into the cup there, and I'll dab and kind of flick, and I'll get up, you know, pretty close to it. So this is just an example of what I would be doing. Like I would just use dip a little, wash it off, and then just flick, and you'd see like the dots starting to form. And a lot of times you want to thin down. I'll thin down these washes even more so that it's almost very translucent when the dotting comes through. So that's how I got this kind of nice ashy darkness through here. I just kept spattering with a really washed down black, and it kind of created a nice soot effect. See if I can get that focus. There we go. All right, so you can get that nice kind of sooty black coming off the exhaust, and that was all just with the flecking and cup technique. So didn't record it because it just happened spontaneously. I kind of forgot that I was able to do stuff like that, and then I just remembered and did it. So I'll go over in a second each of the items, but I just want to give you a little rough overview of that for a second. So just talking specifically, so for the white, I use just a little bit of the white dust, and I might toss a little bit of brown in there, or and then thin that down a little more after I shook it up. So this is a very translucent kind of a white spatter that I threw on in the first part as kind of a dust over everything. Everything from the ground up, kind of like from the bottom up, as if dust would fleck up, as opposed to from the top down where it wouldn't really be raining dust. It would kind of be like every motion, the dust would flitter up and would kind of reach a point underneath the armor more than on top of the armor, if that makes sense. And then I love having this around the stain brown. Stain brown, let's get that in focus. Stain brown is one of the nicer browns that comes out of here. It's kind of got a red, like lighter washy tone to it. I thin that down again. You can see the dried bit right there. It's pretty opaque on its own, so I like to thin it down when it comes to spattering. So you can always have a very translucent buildup of color. And then the multi-black, I mean, I'll use this or Tamiya. They're basically the same thing when it comes down to it. This black just seems a little bit more, what's the word for it? It's a little bit more flat, I guess. Both of them are flat, but it's kind of more of a grayer black, if that makes sense to you, compared to the two. I got to look them both on a piece of white cardstock to really find out. But I like the Mr. Weathering color when it comes to this. Because, I mean, I bought one bottle of this. This will last you forever. Like, you just do a couple drops out, thin it down, spatter, spatter, spatter. So buying one of these is not going to be like you're buying one every week. So check them out. There's a whole line of them, a whole bunch of different colors. Don't go too crazy. Just kind of pick a few starter colors you like, and then try from there. And then I showed some of this. I don't know what's in here right now. What I do is I mix a few different colors that I really do like. Some of the darker brown oil paints, some Payne's gray, some black, some other enamels. Like I'll throw in, you know, like a whole bottle of the brown and black from Tamiya, and then I just kind of create a gunk wash. So it's just a semi-thick, kind of a brown, green, gray mess, and that's what I do for that full coverage, and I let that fully dry. You know, a couple hours or the next day, and then I'll do my wipe downs where I take away everything I don't want and leave the crevices with the grime. Yep. It's always nice to have it in a glass jar too, because the enamel thinners will eat away at plastic, so glass jar. And I believe I already showed a close-up of the brushes, but just some real nasty sets, some flat brushes, some round brushes, whatever, different lengths, different size of bristles. It'll make different spatter effects, but try to keep your bristles your brushes specifically for this separate, so you don't have to clean them as much, and they won't be, you know, wrecked going into other paints like acrylics and things. Just focus on enamel brushes because they will get destroyed by the thinner. So sacrifice a few cheap brushes for this. Don't need to be expensive. Trying to get that focus right was killing me for some reason. So what I'll do is I'll pour my enamel in there. Let's say I'm doing the dust. I'll thin it down a little bit more. And what I'll do is I'll dip in, dab off here, and then I will just lightly fleck. And then dip down again, get a little bit wetter. And you'll see, you can practice this on a paper towel first. And you kind of just get that effect right there where you're flicking outwards. And you're flicking, a bigger brush will be, like a softer brush will be bigger dobs, and a smaller brush will be finer bristles. Like a shorter brush will be tinier little pep, 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 pep. And that's really just how, you know, that's the only thing I did to get all those little dots and kind of a modeling effect afterwards. So I did that kind of that was the final pass over everything before the final semi-gloss coat to get that kind of breakup right there. Okay, so we'll do a quick spattering with the Mr. Weathering Color Stained Brown. Now I'm not going to thin this down too much, but what I will do is I'll use my mineral spirits, or you can use a little bit of 99% alcohol. Just a little bit. Very small. Now, if I was doing a bigger batch, I would do more, but we're just doing a little test right now. So see, you can already see it's a little bit, you can see it running against the wall there. A little bit opaque. So I just, you know, get it quite a bit thinned down. Just grab a random brush. So now you can see that's a little better. See, there's a nice translucency going on there. When you run up the side of the wall, see how it stays, but you can see right through it. So the translucency stays against the wall, runs away, as opposed to before when it was all nice and dark and opaque. So now we can get to it. So first thing to do is I'm just going to have it on see if we can just see it from this perspective. I'm running two cameras right now, so we'll see how this works. All right, see that flick? I'm dipping just a little. You can see that pattern build up. You do a bunch, and then eventually you'll dip down again. You see it starts to build up kind of a pattern. Now, I'm flicking from the inside out. Kind of controlling. You're seeing where it goes, like there's some big drops. When your brush is more soaked, you can have bigger droplets. But you can see the kind of pattern emanating out. It takes a little bit time to learn to aim it, but that's how you kind of get, you can see that spattering effect right there. And see that with a really translucent wash will just start building up layers. And you can always use a little enamel thinner to take it down afterwards. All right, so let's try on the cup. So it's almost like you're using it against a model piece. So let's see right there. That looks pretty good. So we're going against something kind of round. Is that still in focus? Good. So if I was to come up, I would just try to find my aiming spot. My focus is right around here. And just lightly flicking it. You get closer. Closer you get, the closer the grouping get. So you can start from there. And the farther back you go, maybe hitting like one or two little drops. Now you're getting a lot of waste that's going to go over. So you want to do this on something where it doesn't matter if you get messy or not, because it's going to go overboard. But you can see up close all my focus on this one spot. Now the camera from above, I'll have to turn and show you this in a second. But you can see the focus started there and then spread it out, gotten thinner. All right. So let's do that again. Let me add a different color. We throw a little bit of, just darken it up with just like a little bit of black. So just change the tone just a little. You can see immediately the difference there. And you're adding to it. So let me turn here. Are we still up? Still up on top, sort of? Okay. We'll come back to that in a minute. Bottom camera's got it though. Okay. So you can see the closer I get, just kind of create that modeled patterning. And again, my focus is always right here. I'm trying to put most of the paint there. It works better with an actual, something that is a kit or something where you have a source. Right now I'm just trying to focus on, like, this would be our imagined source. And then you can just kind of, you know, spatter it out from wherever you want at that point. And then it dries pretty quick, but you kind of get that. See that breakup right there? And that's kind of what we're going for. Now you start with some lighter tones, wash it down, you know, water it down even more, thin it out, so you have more of a translucency. But I did this on white so you can see the harshness. But there's like the breakup in colors, and you then throw a really light color on top of this, like a dust, and there you go. You got it all worked in. It kind of creates a nice, you know, stippling effect. So that's pretty much it. Just inside the cup. Flick it out.